Hello everyone, my name is Naval and today we'll be playing as Mexico again. We'll be continuing our exploration of Mexico and today we'll be doing Communist Mexico with Trotsky in power. It will require us to go through the focus tree here on the right side, through the red shirts, Revolutionary Class War, Communist Revolution of course. There is an achievement associated with this and a new home of the revolution which requires us to puppet the Soviet Union. Now luckily it doesn't require us to puppet the entire Soviet Union. Theoretically you could just puppet them in one state and get the achievement, but we'll see how far we can get. In theory it's also possible to rush the United States first to be almost invincible. I'm going to skip that for now. It's not that easy in the current version of the game, so I'll just stick with the plan, put Trotsky in power, build up a nice economy, do the march south of course, and then use our built-up forces to invade the Soviet Union from the east. Let's start with Plan of Agua Prieta as usual. Let's have a look at our research. We'll start with electronic engineering and basic machine tools. We'll keep this research slot in the industry tab. We'll get mechanical computing and then switch over to trains, trucks, support equipment, and better guns. We have a big wish list and we'll eventually get another research slot. Start with one civilian factory and then just branch out into military factories. We have an army and we will gather them up all here, delete those bigger divisions. They're just hoarding equipment that the communist revolution needs, and we'll delete 3 more. 12 divisions is a nice start to do the march southwards later, and now we'll just exercise them to level 3. Let's check out the fleet and assign a pride of the fleet first to get a 5% free war support, and that's it for now really. Let's go. This is kind of lucky. I'm already getting an event for the church and I will raise their standing. Why is that important? We'll be going through the red shirts, which will lower the church standing, and later on support Spanish loyalists, which will also lower their standing. You need an event to be able to rush through that. Plan of Agua Prieta is done and we'll exile Calles. If you do not exile Calles but instead empower him, you will not get Mr. Trotsky. You will still be able to go communist of course, but the achievement does require Mr. Trotsky. Exile Calles is done and we'll do Legacy of the Revolution. This of course gives us access to the social reformer. He gives daily democracy support. We can get him later if we need a stability. Right now I just want to focus on communism support. Legacy of Revolution is done and we'll go for the red shirts. The first 100 political power that we have, and we will use it to improve worker conditions for a little bit more stability. The red shirts is almost done. Do note that this will lower your church standing. If you haven't had an event to raise church standing like I did, you will now be heading towards a civil war because you will have atheist state and you have done the red shirts. If that happens, you'll have to make a detour in the focus tree. I advise you to repeal the Calles law, which will replace weak church with assertive church, or in your case, atheist state with weak church. You need to go here eventually for the research slot. It's just a detour you have to take earlier. I don't have to do that right now, so I can just go for international struggle. One thing I'm already going to add to the queue is the interwar bomber. We have no factories for it yet, but it'll get there. Eventually we'll be invading the Soviet Union and some stuff here where a longer range is much more valuable than the value of regular CAS. So I want to have at least a stockpile of interwar bombers, which I'll upgrade later. Meanwhile, international struggle is done. Revolutionary war is of course one of the next steps, but I'm going to take another detour here for now. Purge the bureaucracy and arrest the General Sedilio. I'm already on tensions high, going for tensions very high, and I run a risk of actually forgetting about this. Here's one of the events we're waiting for. Trotsky arrives and you have the regular free options. We're looking for this one. He's an organizational genius. Invite him to join the government. You can then also make him chief of the army, which isn't a bad idea. He gives extra communism support, division organization, and experience gain. Purge the bureaucracy is done and will arrest General Sedilio. Now that we can. Mechanical computing is done and we'll get the civilian trains here. And the other tab can stay on the industry tab. Do note that with all the detours I'm taking in the focus tree, I'm not getting as much experience from supporting Spain's loyalists as I would want to. That's a necessary sacrifice here. You're not taking any other focuses to lower your general Cavillo tensions, and if you do not have an event to raise your church standing, you even have to do another detour here to repeal the Calais law. We're only 99 days away from a revolt from General Sedillo, so this really wasn't a luxury. The general has been arrested and will go for revolutionary class war immediately. Spanish Civil War refugees is next. Spanish Civil War refugees is done and will support Spain's loyalists. Better late than never. Civilian trains are done and we'll add the trucks to the mix. We'll also add civilian trains to the production queue. There's a big wish list here. Get moving, boys. Support Spain's loyalist is done. Do note this takes me to atheist state. I will therefore go to repeal the Calais law to get the church standing up a little again. So control the army is up next. We can see here the Second Cristero War, 150 days, because I'm below 60% stability and I'm on atheist state. And we'll support the Spanish left. We'll do that all the time. We can also go to partial mobilization. We should do so now. Yes, you can go to war economy when at 50% war support, but as you can see, that's not going very quickly. And keep clicking support the Spanish left. We need as many clicks there as possible. Control the army is done and will repeal the Calais law. There's also this decision here, prosecute clergymen, which will give you 3% stability. If you're close to 60%, this is to be considered. Repeal Calais law is done. Let's see here, Second Cristero War stops ticking. Let's pick out a new focus. We can go for abolished capital punishment. We can also go for communist revolution, which will give us more stability and war support, and we'll put Trotsky in power. However, this can wait. I think it's better to go for that research slot now. We are way behind as it is. 150 pp, let's go to limited conscription and keep supporting the Spanish left. I got another event, which is good. I'll just raise the church standing again. Communism and the church don't mix, but they don't need to get into each other's hairs as far as I'm concerned. Abolish capital punishment is done, and we'll go for state education to get our extra research slot. It's quite a bit of political power now. I suggest getting an infantry expert. Can't go wrong with that guy. And we'll save the rest for now. There's army regrouping here, cavalry genius, those are all nice. I'm not going to do anything with cavalry this game. He would be nice for the experience gain, but well, that's what we have this clicking game for. Trucks are done, I'm going for better guns. And I'm going to add trucks to the production tab. They have to get below trains. It's a big wish list, as I said. I'm going to get myself a military theorist so I can get doctrines even cheaper. Don't forget about the professional army corps. And now doctrines are only 85 experience each, and we can get a few in succession. State education is done. In the focus tree we'll take communist revolution now. We are having dangerous high amounts of communism support, and we might get a civil war if we ignore this too long, so do this now. We also have a new research slot here, and it's a good idea to start inventing support equipment. Here is the communist revolution, and we have an ugly new flag and Mr. Trotsky in power. One of the goals of the video is complete. Now we can go for the Bolivarian alliance and the march southwards, but I'm going to pick up the revolutionary women and soldaderas just because they offer a good amount of factories, and we are behind on that. So let's do that first. Add support equipment, add engineers to your wish list immediately. and also start producing it. There's a lot of stuff in the wish list here, I fully realize. Revolutionary Women is done, and we'll do Soldaderas, and we will switch these guys to the infantry templates. Give them to a decent general. Heliodoro Charis will do, and give them to the only field marshal we have. Offensive doctrine and charismatic, and set them on the border with Guatemala and exercise them to level 3. And that's the end of the Spanish Civil War. Soldaderas is done. We'll hold off on the Bavarian alliance for just a little while longer. We'll go for the 4th research slot through National Bank. National Bank is done. Now I strongly prefer to go through this side here with the strike breaking, etc., because this focus here, liberalize the banking sector, gives access to Luis Montos de Oca, which grants consumer goods minus 5%. On this side you have a guy that gives you a civilian construction speed increase, which is kind of nice in the long term, but I need those military factories harder, and this will contribute. So I'll go this side. Liberalize the banking sector is done, and we'll continue with strike breaking, urban development, and the research slot. Transport ships are done, and we'll improve our infantry equipment. It's also a good time by now to invest in building a submarine fleet. We don't have submarines researched that much. We only have the sub-1s, but they'll add to naval supremacy at some point, and we can stop building convoys. We have enough for naval invasions. Meanwhile, the 4th research slot is in, and we'll pan all the way back to the right to Bolivarian Alliance, and we'll follow the path to the march southwards. It is time to finally grab some land. At some point we should switch one of these guys over to the better submarines, but yeah, it's going to have to wait for the real urgent stuff. Submarines are actually only needed to make the jump all the way over here, the Soviet Union. March southwards is done, and we'll unify Central America. We'll set the order to go and just declare war on Guatemala. That's Guatemala. Here goes Honduras. Unify Central America is done, and we'll integrate the south. That's El Salvador. And on we go with Nicaragua. Here goes Costa Rica. And we're finally going for Panama. Going to split off 2 of these divisions and let them do a naval invasion from the port here into Panama itself. Naval invasion is launching, and we're moving into the rest of Panama. We now have a beautiful stockpile of infantry equipment, so we're just producing a few guns so we can put the better guns in the stockpiles. Let's see if we can take out Cuba. Integrate the south is done, and I'm going to liberate the Caribbean to get a bit more Caribbean. I'm going after Cuba and Haiti. You can skip these. It's actually quite difficult to invade at this time, but I feel lucky, and I've been building tactical bombers. You can see here that close air support will not support you here, but tactical bombers will, and that's probably going to be the key. I'm not going to attack the Dominican Republic. They're fascist, and with this amount of world tension they'll likely join the Axis. In fact, in one of my test runs they did. The Integrate the South decisions are now here, and let's click a bunch. 1936 sub is done, and we'll continue with the 1940 sub. Liberate the Caribbean is done, and we'll go to Xefo. We'll go for our final research slot here. And we'll declare war on Cuba. Set the invasion to go. We really need this to succeed, because we have a new ticking civil war. The Second Cristero War. We are below 60% stability. That's why this is so risky. But we are being successful so far. And that's Cuba. Take all states. War support ticking up. We can also go to war economy. Naval invasion is ready. Let's see what we can do here. And once again we'll use force attack. We need to win this. And we do. Now it's relatively easy to take out the Dominican Republic now, but they will join the Axis. That will keep you at war, and therefore you will have that second Cristero war unless you can quickly raise your stability. And I'm not confident that I can do that. In the meantime, we got infantry experts and this guy here. Now it's time we start preparing for the Great Leap East into the Soviet Union. Oh wait, no, this is West. The Great Leap West. We'll eventually use our focus to get a war goal on the Soviet Union, and we'll attack this island here, and from there we will invade Vladivostok. That's all well and good. We need high-range submarines for that to get some naval supremacy, and we need to build them quickly. Now I'm quite confident we have the military factories to produce what we want right now, so we'll finish off this military factory and build a few dockyards extra. Just 5 of these, maybe a few more. Let's start with that and see what happens. We'll get dockyards from integrating Cuba and Haiti as well, I guess. We'll need a bigger army, of course, but these guys will do the invading for now. I'm not going to switch them to Marines just yet. And we'll attack the Soviets, of course, when they're busy with the Germans, so we have a little time. Xefo is done. We'll go back here and integrate Caribbean for some more coring decisions. Now the theory is that invading here in the far east of the Soviet Union, you don't need a lot of war score to get a Soviet puppet, but you do need them to capitulate, and most recently Germany will advance pretty much up until here and stall. If the Allies are then successful in invading in the D-Day areas, the Soviets will not capitulate. So my plan will be to, yes, invade near Vladivostok, but we will push inwards and expand there. That's quite difficult, but I'm sure I'll be able to manage. Integrate Caribbean is done. Now we can go for seize the Panama Canal or push past the Darien Gap. That's not the focus of this video. These lower areas in South America, they cannot be cored, and they'll likely join one of the factions when you attack them, so best not to bother with that. The USA I'll deal with in another video. Smash the bureaucrats will get us the war goal against the Soviets, but that can wait. I want to go for my next research slot, so well, these are interesting. More factories, quite a few actually, but we'll go for this one first. Engineering school, and we can integrate Cuba and Haiti. This is an interesting event. We're communists, but we still have elections up until here. So you can click this and we will have a successor for Mr. Trotsky. No, I want Mr. Trotsky to stay in power, and we will lose our ability for elections. I will also, by the way, lock out women's suffrage. So if you haven't done that yet, now it's too late. And another run of improved worker conditions. And finally get above 90% stability. Yes, this must be fine. Not a problem. Well, it looks like we can actually reach this. Here goes Germany versus the Soviet Union. That's our cue to also go for the Soviet Union. Heroic military college is done, and we'll smash the bureaucrats for our war goal against the Soviets. Smash the bureaucrats is in. Now we have the war goal against the Soviet Union. They're distracted. Our invasion is ready. I see no reason to wait. Let's declare war and go. Alright, we have the port. Alright, can you guys get me naval supremacy? Oh, just barely. Good luck. Well, from the looks of it, the Soviet Far East is busy. Let's just hope my troops are better equipped. And we'll use a force attack. We can get the port, we are in business, of course. And these are 4 units ready to reinforce, so I really need to pin those. This was a closer battle than I anticipated. I had expected more of the Soviets to be out of here. Delete the order, create a new one that will, when selected, the entire army, the rest will join as well. At least they're supposed to. Let's help them out. And give an offensive order. We have no airports yet, so we'll have to make do with what we have for now. The equipment situation is dire. That's due to my double force attacks. Tiny encirclement. I got a supply hub here at Khabarovsk. And the supply is rolling. We also have the airport here, and it's a big one. So let's grab all we have here and send it over. So far so good. Let's get also this port. Now I'm contemplating on holding off this offensive for now and just attacking Japan as well. The Soviets might actually fall this time. I only have 5% war participation, so I probably should get some more action in on the Soviets. I'm supporting China through Lend-Lease. They'll hold out for now. I can always get Japan last minute. As I said, we're going to expand through the Trans-Siberian Railroad. And we'll primarily use the mechanized for that. We can pretty much enter several Soviet tiles unopposed. But it's going to be leapfrogging from one supply hub to the next, and maybe sometimes we even have to build one. The new mechanized has been researched and we can now produce it. There is something you might not know. Mechanized equipment can be improved and you can make better engines, better reliability and better armor, and you can reduce production cost. Well, this seems very worthwhile. I have some experience and the doctrines are done, so let's invest in that. You can already see here the only guys that are getting anything done are my tactical bombers. Close air support is useless here. I really want the next supply hub here, but I'm afraid it will be a bit far off. Oh, supply hub's way over here. Russians don't have many troops here, but it's very hard to push into any tile with the current supply level. Distance between supply hubs is just too big. Tempted to just build another one. Let's start building a supply hub here, although it will take forever to build. The other stuff is more important now. But we'll get there, and I'll distract my main troops by attacking Japan. With any luck, I'll be able to advance through Manchuria, and that will make things easier. Now, Japan, of course, has already signed a tripartite pact, and declaring on their puppets will have the same effect. Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere has taken Siam under its wing, so we'll justify on these guys. That might also work. The Americans are already invading here. And our naval invasion is launching. I put all 24 of my troops on here. Let's see if this works. Let's finish this. Let's see if we can still puppet Japan. Take all states, unselect. Something small like Iwo Jima, perhaps? Puppet? No, that's still expensive. This one? Saipan? 193. 13. Yes. Puppet. There we go. We now have military access through China, but they're not at war with anyone. I'm not going to be able to move through here. What the hell happened here? Oh, that's my Japanese People's Republic. That's fine. As expected, the German offensive into the Soviet Union is simply stalling. So I'll need to step up my efforts here. And here we are. We can't call this efficient by a long shot, but we got the other supply hub, which means we're finally moving. The next supply hub is all the way over here. I'm hoping not to repeat my previous situation where I had to build a supply hub to reach the supply hub. But it's not looking good. This is probably not the most efficient way. But you do learn a lot about supply here. I think they're being pushed back here. Italy's not looking too hot. I don't think you can count on the Germans just capitulating the Soviets these days. Mongolia has capitulated. There's probably Soviet troops left here. Liberation of Paris. Can't say I'm too happy about that right now. I need the Soviets to die. We made it to Novosibirsk. We also have the railroad. We just need to hold it now. And then maybe try to cut off a piece here. Things looking up. Except, of course, for the Germans. The fall of Berlin. Sad times. We've entered 1945 and we're still punching into the Soviet Union. The Germans are almost out. And they're the last major of the Axis, so when that happens I'll face the Soviets by myself. I'm entering the area with more and more supply hubs, getting railroads there, so we're doing alright. I'm destroying most of the Soviet divisions by encirclement. I think that's vital too, otherwise you just lengthen your front lines. Even punching in to these dark hellholes at the far desert. Something's capitulated, it's probably Germany. Yep. Well, that was the Axis. And I'm now alone versus these guys. Well, we got Stalingrad, that's something. And we'll make the push to Moscow as well. I'm done. Well, I can say that, but of course Germany still has major status and Poland is in between. And we have Moscow. Moscow, Stalingrad, and we're not even at 50%. Oof. Leningrad is also mine. Closing in on Soviet capitulation. I had to consolidate some lines here, but I'm almost there. I have to retake Leningrad, and then I think I've got it. Then the next challenge will be, of course, to take out Germany, who is now a major and a Soviet puppet. And here we are. That's the Soviets. Yep, this looks like a decent modern division. Naval invasion of Germany is launching. We got Rostock as first port, and I'd like to get Kiel. Berlin is mine. I'm also just going all in on China. Here we are again. I've skipped large parts of the recording. It's 1948. This probably isn't the most successful way to go about it, but it's an epic campaign. I have the Chinese People's Republic puppeted. That took some doing. The allies are pretty much all around. And this has been a real struggle. I have millions of casualties, and so do the Germans, and only in the last few minutes have I made any progress. I've been bottled up in the north part of Germany, and I'm actually now pushing inward. I do believe I'm in the final pushes here. I'm making encirclements with my modern tanks, which have finally been upgraded. I'm getting close to green air. Well, green air at this point, but it's been red for a long time. It's only green at the parts where I'm focusing, of course. I'm not doing anything else. But it's slow going, and there's just so many German troops. I really never expected it would go this far with all of these Germans just pounding away at me. I had expected them to have fewer troops. And here we are, finished them off. It's quite a few divisions. And we're here, finally. Oof, that took a lot longer than expected, but I did get the Soviet Union, and I'm pretty much the only one in the peace deal. My South American allies managed to join in on the fun. Let's just puppet the Soviet Union, which was our goal here. Here we go. Soviet Union puppeted as Mexico. Well, it's December 1948. I suppose this can be done more efficiently, but I did explore for you the Eastern approach, which is, well, a nice campaign to work with supply anyway. I underestimated Germany. That probably cost me a few years longer. And maybe there's some other stuff you can do. I do remember why I didn't actually join the Germans, because in my test run I did declare war on the Dominican Republic and they joined the Axis, so I was at war with the Axis in my previous test run. But let's face it, as communist Mexico, you don't want to depend on military access to Germany. Well, I'm happy that this one is over. It's barely in time. I hope you enjoyed yourself watching this, learned a thing or two, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.